This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today from Kinshasa is Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources. Andrew, thank you for your time. How are you?
I'm all right. I've had 1 or 2 days of enforced staying in the hotel because of the demonstrations outside, but everything's back to normal now.
Right.
Except the airlines are taking a little bit of time to get their schedules back.
Okay, so there's been some political unrest, but it's settling, is it?
Well, there was the invasion of the east of the DRC by Rwanda, which, always tries that. And won't go into the politics of it here, but it's a fact that it happened. The United Nations and everyone else has condemned it and said that they're to get out. The government here, I think the ruling party, organized demonstrations on Tuesday. Probably, I don't know what the motivation of that again, but I suppose it's a good thing to get everyone blaming the various foreign parties rather than having them turning around blaming the government. But having got them on the streets on Tuesday, then a whole lot of teenagers and students and looters came out at the same time. When everyone was told to, go back to work normally the next day, that day having been completely lost, not everybody obeyed. So it took 2 or 3 days to restore order, which is perhaps a lesson to them that it wasn't a very smart thing to do because, with no planes arriving and lots of things put off, it has an effect on the economy as well. Anyway, everything's back to normal now.
Well, that's good to hear. And of course, the last time we spoke, which is about maybe sort of 2 weeks, sort of 10 days ago, perhaps, you were invited to this meeting. You were very confident that this would be the final meeting and you would be indeed getting the arbitration sorted and the monies released. So, where are you with that? I sort of understand you don't plan on leaving until that's sorted.
Yeah, it is the final part of the process. But to suppose that we could walk in after a gap of 29 months and have everything ready to sign and everything to, move like the money, that's probably a bit of an ask. Even if you're doing something in the West, you would have your Sherpas setting up the detail of the meeting in the finest detail, and then you might have a bit of toing and froing and last-minute things come up in the meeting. Well, this isn't the West, and there isn't a great tribe of people working on this. It's the Congo. So we had the meeting. But that just means that after a 29-month intermission, the arbitrator has taken the matter up again in order to finish it. And that's the clear objective, is to finish it. And so I'm staying out here to make sure that happens. But the drive to get it done is, from the top, and it will happen.
Right. Okay. So, what's the sort of status at the minute? Are the meetings going on? Have you got meetings lined up? Give us a bit of a sense of what you're doing.
Of course, the arbitrator did say, have a last attempt to get together and see if you can organize this consensually between yourselves, then come back to me if you can't. That's fair enough, because 2 years ago, 30 months ago, in the course of the arbitration then, they said the same thing. We got together with the other side. We had agreed a solution. I'd signed off on it. And then the representative of the other side went back to their principals, one of whom objected, so it fell down. And I got on a plane thinking it had been done, and I arrived to find it hadn't. So we're really just back to having an attempt to get that done, which obviously makes it easier for everybody. But in practice, the arbitrator is going to make a decision. Things are going to happen. And it's not going to take too much time, very short time. Or I wouldn't be saying that I'm going to stay out here till it's done, because I don't want to stay out here for months, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're expecting, a week, 2 weeks? What are you thinking?
Well, should be days, a day or two.
Okay.
I think we'd have got the whole thing settled this week if it hadn't been for, people having to fly off to make sure there were supplies of arms to the troops, and then security meetings, things like that. And then 2 or 3 days when nobody, including the judges, were going into their offices in court. So there was an inevitable interruption there. And I think it's probably also true to say that Jacobin was all ready to make payments, but probably in order to pay for arms, any parastatal or state bodies' spare cash balances will have been scooped up. So for the next week or two, probably money isn't going to move. But to get the decisions made and to get all that done, yes, we were saying that's the difficult part, and getting the money moving is the easy part. I'd now say that getting all of this finished should be the easy part. Getting the money to move is not going to be the difficult part. Could take a little bit longer.
Right. Okay. So you're feeling confident that you'll sort that out and basically get that decision sorted.
Yes. And none of us know exactly what today will bring or tomorrow will bring, but we do have confidence that this is going to be sorted. And after all, so it should be, because it was a really simple matter. From the very beginning of this, we have every email, copies of every WhatsApp, notes of every telephone conversation, every document. We have an absolutely flawless case that goes from beginning to the end, and the other parties had absolutely nothing. And our papers also back up what we said. So any time this has got in front of any tribunal, been looked at, there's only been one possible verdict. So of course there were attempts in this period, I say 29 months, to try and get the deal done in corridors. Because after all, how do things get done here? If it's local parties in a dispute, the end result tends to reflect who has the most political power connections. If it's foreigners involved in a dispute, they just play for delay on the assumption the foreigners will eventually give up and go away. So we are a slightly unusual animal in that we have persisted, and in the end, we inevitably will get what's right. And so here we are. Our market value stays around 2.5-3 million mark, but that's because we're still at base camp. And of course, what we're playing for here is something that will create improvements in our value of orders of magnitude. Certainly, I'd think 1, maybe 2 orders of magnitude, because there's a whole sequence of things we can then do. And we will have unlocked the Congo and have other deals available to us here in conjunction with the government. So everything, all the time spent here, all the effort diverted here from the other things we do, will prove worth it.
Okay. And are you staying around because you might be required for meetings, or you're there because you need to sign something, or you be sort of really like just there in person, sort of keeping the pressure on?
It's really keeping the pressure on, making sure the liaison between everybody is carried out. Because the moment you leave, people who've been working full-time for us when we're here go back to their day jobs, things like that.
Okay.
Inevitably.
Okay.
So it's kind of exciting time. Having been forced to stay in the hotel for a couple of days, obviously I feel quite relaxed, and I'm glad. I've been hearing about every time I feel what am I doing here, I ask what the temperature is in London.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, probably not as warm as where you are. Just another point from a recent RNS, Andrew. I noticed that you mentioned that you were engaged in sort of different discussions, perhaps with potential buyers who've approached you in relation to some of the other assets in Red Rock. So could you talk a little bit about what that means?
And there is, in fact, if I were not here, there's another country I would probably need to be in to finalize some deal there. But I applied for a visa, and while my visa application was under consideration, the responsibility for these visas moved from the Foreign Ministry to the Security Ministry. So I only just had that released. But yes, we have somebody who has signed an NDA. We've provided them with all the information. They're bringing me or getting in touch with me virtually every day now wanting to progress that. But I think that as soon as we go to the next stage, I need to be in that country with them to follow through. Otherwise, there will always be the temptation for people to find some way to do things behind our backs to create problems for us with the license.
Okay, so of course with the NDA, you can't really disclose any more about that. We have to just wait and see.
No. But it would certainly, it would look very, very good in relation to the market value. But
okay,
almost anything we do would look very good in relation to the market value.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. Okay, well, thank you for joining us for the update today from Kinshasa. I hope to hear from you in a few days that it's all concluded. But thank you, Andrew, for now.
I hope so too. Bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.